We lost two houses. The last house we lost, we had to move in to my mom's house. And it's only a small two-bedroom house. And the oldest son went to her mother's house to live. And the other two boys, Jason and Sean, they still lived with us. And she left me, and Sean went with her, and Jason stayed with me. And so she, after a year, well, it was before a year, she was trying to get $500 a month for child support, and at the time I was only making around $400 a month, or $400 every 2 weeks, and she would have taken a lot of my money. And so I wouldn't sign the divorce papers. So she took me to court for the child support, and they wouldn't give her the $500 that she wanted. She only got $51 every week. So she was very unhappy about that, and she stalked me for 2 years after that. She wanted me back, and once I was divorced, I said, no. I said, you made the right decision by divorcing me. There was no way I was going back. So we arranged so I could see my son on Wednesdays and Sundays. Well, she arranged it because she was in the church, and she made it so I couldn't see him. Wednesday night was prayer meetings, and Sundays she went to church in the morning and church at night, and most of the time she stayed at church all day long because they always had food and fellowship and everything. And so she made it impossible for me to see him. She wouldn't let me talk to him on the phone or nothing. And he ran away a couple times and came to me, and he cried to me, telling me that they was trying to brainwash him, make him to hate me, and just like they did with my oldest son, because he didn't talk to me for 3 years. So well, she divorced me on my birthday, and she got me for abandonment. Well, I didn't abandon her. She's the one that abandoned me. But when we moved into the house, she stayed upstairs, and I stayed in the basement. The basement had leaks in it. There was water down there all the time. I slept on a couch, and I just didn't care. And there was black mold downstairs, and, it was better to be down in the basement with those conditions than to be upstairs with her. But she moved to Indiana, but she didn't take Sean, and she was only going to be there a couple weeks, so he stayed with me. And this was during the time that she had been stalking me. And so after 2 weeks, she came back and she says, I'm moving to Wisconsin. And so she moved to Wisconsin. But she was going to take Sean, but Sean said he didn't want to go. And so she said she'll go on and go without him. And when she gets settled, she'd have him brought up to her. Well, I'm still paying child support, and so after a year, I said, this is enough, I'm paying her child support, and my son's with me, and she was supposed to send me the money every week or every month that she got it, but she didn't. She kept it, and she started using it. So I contacted Children's Services and everything, and I explained to them about it, and I'm paying child support, so they stopped paying her. They put it all in escrow. And so nobody knew where she was, except for child support, but they wouldn't tell me. And so when we got divorced, I went for custody of my son after a year. And I won custody. She kept stalling it for a year. She said she couldn't find an attorney or anything, and finally, after a year, she asked for another continuance, and the judge says, no, this has gone on long enough. You had plenty enough time to get an attorney, and you were going to go ahead and do this today. And this was over 2 years after we had divorced. No, it was about a year after we had divorced. And so the judge heard her side, the judge heard my side from my attorney. I'd never said a thing. I wasn't asking for child support. All I was asking for was I didn't have to pay child support anymore. And so the judge heard both sides, and then she took my son back in her quarters and talked to him. And to this day, I do not know what he said. He says now he doesn't remember. But my other two sons had come up to testify against her. One lived in one lived in Georgia, and the other one lived in Florida, and they both came up to be here. And I told them, I said, I don't want you testifying against your mother. She is your mother. We'll have to just do it, but I appreciated their support. And so she moved, like I said, she moved to Wisconsin, and they started taking money out of her paycheck because I was granted custody, and she had to pay me $384 a month. And so she met some guy, and she married him, and they ran off and moved to Colorado. Didn't know where in Colorado, but child support finally caught up with her and started taking money out of her paycheck. So they moved to Florida. They, again, stopped paying child support. And down in Florida, they finally told her, they said that if she missed one payment from now on, that she will go to jail. And so I started receiving child support, and she finally paid all her child support when my youngest son was 21. And so I was there for my son, and he knows it, and all of my kids know that I'm there for them. And we have a great relationship. And but she was something else. There's so many horror stories I could tell you about. She sheltered me. I wasn't allowed to do nothing. I had to watch the foster kids. I worked 2 jobs at a time, and both full-time jobs. And I'd go to one job and then have to go to the other job and then come home. And I had to clean the house. I had to do the cooking. I had to do everything because she had diabetes and she couldn't do nothing. Well, I've got diabetes now and I can do it. But she just used excuses after excuses, and she did not treat the kids right. That's basically why I stayed. I took a lot of the you know, accusations, and I tried to protect them the best that I could, saying it was my fault. And so it was a really bad situation. I just told you a couple of what of the things that happened, and but she was something else. But this is part 1. Well, I don't know what part it is, but I will do another part of my life, and this will be after my divorce, which I was, I think, 42 at the time. So, well, thank you for listening, and like and subscribe if you'd like. Thank you. Bye.